Hey guys, what it do? It's your boy Supreme Cheer the God, and today we're talking about Rock Lee. Now, Rock Lee initially in Naruto was one of my favorite characters, second only to Sasuke. Just the determination, the fact that he had this relentlessness when it came to hard work and perseverance and dedication. It was just something so inspiring about him, and the fact that he couldn't even utilize most of the arsenals that everybody else seemed to be able to utilize, and yet managed to climb up the ranks and join the tuning exams, and even go, try to go above that. Now, Rock Lee's journey is obviously one of both triumph and heartbreak, a bittersweet tale of relentless hard work and unrealized potential. From a young age, he was told he lacked natural talent to use ninjutsu or genjutsu, essential skills for any ninja. Yet Lee refused to let this define him. Thanks massively to Guy Sensei, he devoted himself to the master of taijutsu, training under his mentor Guy and pushing his body beyond its limits to compete with those far more gifted than him, those that were blessed with abilities like Gaara. His story became one of raw perseverance, a true embodiment of the idea that sheer willpower can forge one's destiny and make one push ahead. But despite all those incredible efforts, Lee's most iconic battle, his clash against the man from the Sand Village, Gaara, during the tuning exams, paints a bittersweet picture. Lee gave everything possible in that fight, unleashing the gates of his body's potential to its breaking point, only to face a crushing defeat against Gaara's overwhelming abilities. The fight remains obviously one of the fan favorites, one of the best, greatest fights in shonen history. Not for its outcome necessarily, but because it showcased the depth of Lee's resolve. He pushed himself to the brink, risking permanent injury, yet even in defeat, his tenacity inspired all who watched. He would not stop. After that battle, however, Lee's narrative faltered. Though he recovered from an injury that was deemed impossible to heal, a testament, of course, to his willpower, he never quite regained his place at the center of the story. He continued to work hard, becoming one of the strongest ninja in Konoha, but his growth paled in comparison to the larger than life figures around him like Sasuke, Naruto. The bitter truth is that the character who embodied the underdog never ascended to the legendary status many hoped he would. One reason for this is that, of course, Guy, Lee's mentor, ultimately overshadowed him. During the Fourth Great Ninja War, Guy opened all eight gates and nearly defeated the god-like figure of Madara Uchiha, cementing himself in a place of history. This was the pinnacle of what Lee had aspired to, yet it was Guy, not Lee, who fulfilled that destiny. In many ways, Guy's performance was the ultimate version of what Lee could have been, leaving little room for Lee to carve out his own unique legend. Guy Sensei is the one that became this legendary figure, the underdog that actually climbed and reached the very pinnacle. But Lee unfortunately failed. Though Lee became a respected and powerful shinobi, the painful reality is that his story, defined by hard work, didn't elevate him to the same heights as some of his peers. In a world where characters with immense natural talent often rise to the top, Lee's journey serves as a reminder that hard work doesn't always equal greatness. Life is unfair, even though it may seem it is unfair. Sometimes rewards natural ability over perseverance and hard work and determination and all these other things. That's just life, right? You ever seen somebody born with a super athletic build, just natural freaking LeBron James? You know what I'm saying? You just, some people are just blessed. Some people just are just acute when it comes to mathematics. Einstein, right? Some people are just great when it comes to engineering. Some people are just built different. And that's just the sad reality of it. And it affects all of us daily, right? So many people know people that are very talented and people that just aren't really good at a lot of things. Some people's strength is emotional, but emotional strength is often, or emotional, uh, having great emotional control and emotional intelligence doesn't necessarily bring you and rise you up in the world of corporate, right? Or in the world of business, or in many different type of worlds. It doesn't really help, but charisma might, right? And having overwhelming charisma could be the engine that drives one forward ahead of other people with far more talent. You see, the world is just built like that. Talent isn't all, right? Sometimes it's hacks, sometimes it's luck. There's so many factors that go into creating legends. And yes, of course, most of them work very hard as well, but it's almost guaranteed that somebody else was working way, way harder and still could not attain nearly half the success of the person that just did. Some people just drop one song and boom, they succeed. That's just the way of life. And Rock Lee, his failure is an example of this. It's an example of the cruel world that we live in. It's an example that just because you try hard, just because you work hard, just because you would call the underdog, it doesn't mean that you will beat the giant. It doesn't mean that you will stick it to the man, because guess what? The man is called the man and the giant is called the giant because they are already far ahead. People begin their journeys at completely different stages. Some people have a well balanced family that back somebody's dream and pay for extra rehearsals for actors and give them money to start saving in the account from an early age, and thus they already have 100K maybe plus by the time they're 18, 19, able to manage their finances nearly perfectly. And then others are going day to day hoping for a meal and struggling and taking care of brothers and sisters and have little to no time to hone their talents and abilities or work properly for school, and they go into debt just to make it into college and then spend years and years trying to pay it back, and they have worked far harder than the other person, but the opportunity was not the same. The starting point was not the same. And Rock Lee is the example of this. You see, Lee's legacy, despite this, is more than just his victories or defeats. His determination to prove that effort can create its own luck. His recovery from an insurmountable injury and his undying spirit make him an unforgettable character. You see, despite what happened in that fight, Lee stood the test of time to the fandom. Lee's legend was written in that moment, not in the story of the Naruto verse itself, but in our minds. Rock Lee might not have become a true legend like Guy Sensei, but his tenacity in the face of overwhelming odds defines the very essence of what it means to persevere regardless of the outcome. Things are not always fair, but we gotta somehow make it work. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'm out.